Hello everyone, welcome to Socioscholar. This is Simon, Socioscholar's classical sociology guy. I'm really thrilled to be kickstarting our learning journey together with this very first lesson. Get ready, because I'll be your guide for not one but two exciting series. The first one, which starts with this lesson, will be on classical sociology, and the second one will be on functionalism. My awesome colleagues here at Socioscholar will be with you for other social theory paradigms. Altogether, there will be 13 series covering every social theory paradigm, giving you a comprehensive understanding of social theory. By watching this series, which includes 4 lessons, you will get the hang of the basics of classical sociology once and for all. So let's get our sociology groove on. Ready? Let's go. First of all, let's talk about the significance of studying and understanding classical sociology. Well, I'm starting my lesson with this because watching this video, a lot of you might be wondering, why should we even study the ideas of a bunch of dead men from previous centuries? So, let me tell you why. Studying classical sociology is crucial for several reasons. I'm going to tell you the 3 most important ones. Firstly, it helps us understand the foundational theories and concepts that modern sociology is built upon. Think of it as learning the ABCs before you start writing essays. Secondly, by studying the works of classical sociologists, we can better understand the societal conditions and changes during their time, which often parallel issues in our current society. Lastly, these studies can enhance our critical thinking skills. When we explore the ideas from these early thinkers, it's like we're learning to see social situations from many angles, not just one. This can help us better understand the world we live in today in a more detailed and thoughtful way. Just one more thing, and it's kind of interesting. None of the writers from the 18th, 19th, or early 20th centuries ever thought of themselves as a classical theorist. That's a tag that got stuck on them much later, by specific people who had their own reasons for doing so. Kind of like getting a nickname you never asked for, right? So keep that in mind as we dive into their world. Now, what do we actually mean by classical sociology? Classical sociology, which primarily developed during the mid-19th to early 20th century, became a crucial area of study to understand the huge changes in society brought on by the Industrial Revolution. This time was marked by fast-growing cities, major political changes, and the rise of a capitalist economy. Pioneering thinkers such as Karl Marx, Emil Durkheim, and Max Weber provided the foundational theories and concepts that continue to shape the discipline. Marx's work was largely focused on class struggle and capitalism. Durkheim introduced concepts like social facts and collective conscience, and Weber is celebrated for his analysis of bureaucracy and his theories on social action. These theorists sought to interpret the societal transformations of their era and set the groundwork for modern sociological inquiry. Having said that, you need to know that classical sociology does not only involve these much-repeated names. In fact, the focus on these so-called canonized classical sociologists has also been criticized for neglecting other important figures who have made significant contributions to social inquiry. For example, Georg Simmel, William Du Bois, and Thorstein Veblen were marginalized for a long time despite their influential contributions. Although these scholars made foundational contributions during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, and their theories continue to be central to sociological thought and teaching today, the honor badge of the founding father of sociology is reserved for another thinker. Auguste Comte, a French philosopher, is frequently recognized as the father of sociology. In 1838, he introduced the term sociology to define the scientific study of society. Comte endeavored to create a discipline that would use scientific methods to examine social phenomena, which was a radical idea for his time. Okay, back to our discussion of classical sociology. Classical sociology was shaped by thinkers who drew on a diverse range of disciplines such as history, anthropology, philosophy, and linguistics to develop their theories. In general, we can speak of four broad characteristics of classical sociology. Firstly, classical sociologists focused on understanding and explaining the social structures and institutions that shape society. They emphasized the importance of social factors in influencing human behavior and social phenomena. Secondly, they sought to uncover the underlying patterns and regularities in social life through empirical research and analysis. Thirdly, classical sociology emphasized the significance of social inequality, class struggles, and the impact of capitalism on society. Lastly, classical sociologists aimed to develop comprehensive theoretical frameworks that involved various aspects of society, including economics, culture, politics, and social order. Their works laid the foundation for contemporary sociological inquiry and continue to shape the field of sociology today. Also, classical sociology was an important part of the broader cultural movement known as classical modernity, which included fields like literature, art, architecture, music, and philosophy. It helped shape the conversation about what it means to be modern, capturing the profound changes and uncertainties of that time, which takes me to my next point. Some scholars argue that classical sociology emerged out of a space defined by Enlightenment and Romanticism. This division between the Enlightenment values of reason, rationality, and scientific inquiry, and the Romantic emphasis on emotion, intuition, and individual experience flows through classical sociological thought. Some thinkers, like Marx, have elements of both strains of thought in their work. However, in very general terms, French authors were more oriented to Enlightenment thinking, while German thinkers were more attuned to Romantic ideas. Let's now clarify these two big words. In summary, Enlightenment thinking grew popular, particularly in France, in the later 18th century. Enlightenment philosophers such as Voltaire and Diderot emphasized scientific thinking as being superior to other types of thought, especially the more imaginative and poetic types. Enlightenment thought also put a strong emphasis on the power of rational thought to expose how social relations and cultural phenomena are formed by powerful groups, especially those of the aristocracy and church. For instance, early works of Durkheim and Weber that focus on the scientific study of social facts and value significance in understanding human behavior are more oriented to Enlightenment thinking. But remember, classical sociology isn't a one-note tune. It's more like a rich symphony, also including romantic ideals that celebrate individual action and our personal subjective experiences. Now let's turn to Enlightenment thinking's challenger. Romanticism arose in the early 19th century as a critical response to Enlightenment ways of thinking. Romanticism emphasized the importance of intuition, emotion, and individual experience in understanding social phenomena. While Enlightenment thought praised science, Romanticism instead saw scientific rationality as a threat to other values like beauty and religious ideals, and dismissed the idea of one human nature that could be studied scientifically. French Enlightenment thinking regarded its object of analysis as primarily social factors, such as structures and institutions, but German Romantic-inspired thought took cultural phenomena, such as ideas, values, experiences, as its main focus. This tension between reason and subjective experience remains a relevant issue for contemporary sociology, particularly in light of global developments that have challenged the foundations of modernity itself. There is another important division you need to learn about. The long-term intellectual legacy of Enlightenment and Romanticism division gave rise to a generation of thinkers commonly labeled as Positivist and Interpretivist. Positivism, influenced by Enlightenment thinking, emphasizes empirical science and the belief that all authentic knowledge allows verification and is based on observable experience. It suggests that society, like the physical world, operates according to general laws. On the other hand, interpretivism, influenced by Romanticism, argues against the application of natural science methods to the social world, emphasizing instead the difference between people and the objects of the natural sciences. Interpretivists focus on understanding the meanings that social actions have for the people who perform them. Therefore, while both these divisions contrast objective and subjective ways of understanding the world, they do so in different contexts, Enlightenment and Romanticism in a broader cultural and historical context, and Positivism and Interpretivism in a more specific methodological context within the social sciences. Let me give you an example to make things clear methodologically. Imagine you're trying to understand a painting. If you follow a positivist methodology, you would look at the painting's colors, shapes, and techniques. You would analyze the facts, what paints were used, what techniques were applied, and maybe the historical context of when it was painted. You'd likely believe that there's a correct interpretation based on these facts. Now, if you follow an interpretivism-inspired methodology, you would try to feel the painting. You'd look at it and think about how it makes you feel, what you think the artist was feeling, and maybe you'd even create a story in your head about the painting. There's no correct or incorrect here. It's about your personal emotional connection to the painting. So, yeah, that would be my introduction to classical sociology. Just remember, whatever you heard in this video and will hear in future videos are only simplified explanations. Classical sociology and divisions such as Enlightenment and Romanticism contain a lot of internal diversity and complexity. You need to check out appropriate resources to deepen your knowledge and further your education. You can find my recommendations in the description below. See you in the next lesson.